Hello everyone, today I am making a pincushion. I've already started and I thought maybe I'll just turn the camera on. And so what I've done is I've cut myself a piece of fabric. I'm using the Lavish Laces fabrics because I absolutely love this green silk. I love this and I want to have a pincushion with this on it. And this is the other fabric I received, and I think these were both in the Christmas kit that I received. This is an embroidery on glaze, slightly tea stained. I've just got one piece of that. So I've got two fabrics. I do have some cardboard cut out. Now the fabric that I've cut measures 3 3/4, and the cardboard circles, I've got two of those I've cut, measure 2 3/4, so they're an inch smaller than the fabric. I've marked it on the fabric there very lightly, you might see it, and I've just cut it smaller like that, and that will eventually just fold over like that. I did cover the other side of the cardboard in white. If you look, that's what it looks like with the cardboard behind it, but it's just a little bit brighter with the white behind it. So that will be glued onto there like that. The other piece of cardboard, I've got a little bit of wadding here, and I thought I would just glue that. I tried to mark it, but it, pencil doesn't always like to work that well on wadding. So I'm just going to glue that wadding to this circle here. And this is the same concept I used when I made my pincushion wands many years ago. Could be 6-7 years ago now. For a time, one of those ones, I took this stick off and I had it sat next to me on the desk, and the pincushion was wonderful because it was a really flat kind of pincushion. It didn't, it didn't stick up too high or anything like that. So let's just glue that to that wadding. So that idea is stemmed from that, because I came across that little pincushion when I was tidying some things up, and it's a bit worse for wear now because it got stuck down the side of my desk. So I want to make another one slightly smaller, just to have at the side here to put my needle in. When you have a threaded needle and you're not using a felt mat or anything, sometimes it's convenient just to have a very low-lying pincushion. You don't want to have to, be lifting up too far. I've got plenty of pincushions around, but like this one, it's full of threaded needles and some old pins that I actually use to unstick my glue bottles and things like that. They're not for in fabric. I use those for unclogging things. They should all be in one little section actually, which would make it easier for me. But these are all needles in here. There's no other usable pins in here, and I kind of want to keep it that way. And so to be putting like a threaded needle, you have to be careful because you've got so many other needles and you might hurt yourself. So I wanted one just for a one-off sort of thing. And I've got this one here. Now I've got my doll needles in this because it's so tall, but I've also got all my tiny little applique pins in here as well, just all convenient at the same place, and a couple of little stick pins. And then I've got a very long one here, and that's full of my pins, all different kinds. It's got the long, really fine, that one's bent, really fine pins in there. It's got some thicker pins in there. Oh, they're the cricket ones. They're actually not that sharp. It's got some lovely, what are they called? They're actually etymology, I think they're called pins, those ones. Some more really fine clover pins as well. And then some vintage pins over there, but that's strictly for pins. It's not 4 needles, so I just want a low-lying one. Oh, and then I have this beautiful, beautiful pincushion that was sent me many years ago in a challenge I did, and I've just, these little pins were already in it. Aren't they beautiful? So that's more for decorative. I don't put my pins in there or my needles. I just like that on my desk. So this will be exclusively to put at the side there. So I just need to trim around this. Plus I want to have something else made out of this beautiful silk fabric as well. Okay, that's the wadding, that's the fabric. With the fabric, all I'm going to do is put a few notches in this fabric, not quite touching the line. I don't know if you can see that, but just short of the line. I'm going to be putting a few notches in that, and that will help it to fold over nice and neatly. So I'll do that and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've got all the notches put around it like that, and now what I'm going to do is turn that over, position my circle where I had that line, then using my glue. Now I would use a hot glue gun, but my hot glue gun leaks everywhere and it just annoys me so much that I don't use it, which is a shame because they're very good for this sort of thing. I'm going to glue one at one side and one at the other side like that, just to hold its position properly. Like that. And then I can go ahead and glue all the other ones on. I hope you're all keeping well. It's Saturday morning here. My husband's working today, so it's very quiet for a Saturday morning, which is lovely. I do like a nice quiet home. I've had years of noisy homes with children and things, so it is quite lovely. Although they were never too loud. Okay, so that's on. Just go around and okay, so that's that, and that will be the bottom. That one needs pulling over a bit more, I think. Okay, so that will go like that. So that will be the base of my pincushion there, and this will be the top. So now with the top we need to cut out our beautiful fabric. If I can see the line, it's not that easy to see on this fabric. Oh, where is it? Can't see where that is. I'll just guess. It's hard when the fabric has a shine to it. Close enough with this is okay because it's going to be cut under, hidden under anyway. So I've cut on the outside of that circle, mainly because I can barely see the circle. You probably can see it more than me in the viewfinder. Okay. And honestly, I just don't know if there's a right and wrong way to this. That one looks a little bit brighter, so we'll have that on the outside like that. But what I need to do is a running stitch. Which side did I say? Now they both look the same. I don't think it matters. Now I need a running stitch going all around the outside of it. Find the right needle. See, there we go. This is where I need my little thing. If I'm not, like if you're using your felt pad, that's fine because you can just stick it in the felt pad. Okay, let's get a thread. Right. Actually, I'm not going to leave a little tail, I think, like that, because I want to tie it at the end. So I'm just going to do a running stitch, and I'm not folding the edge over because I don't want that extra bulk in it. Okay, so I'll just go around doing a running stitch about 1/4 inch away from the edge there. And then I'll be back. Right, so that has been done. Now I have some fibre fill, and it's just out of an old cushion. It's always best to pull your fibre fill apart a bit. You don't want great big pieces. It's much better to have smaller little pieces in there. So we want this one. So we'll start off with a bit and see how we go. I'm not sure how much I'll need, so you just pop it in there like that, and then pull this. Now I'm using an embroidery thread to do that gathering because it's nice and strong, and you need a strong thread when you're doing things like that. I may have put too much, maybe, we'll see. You want it firm, but you know, you don't want it too firm. It's going to take a couple of little stitches to secure it. There, like that. There, and if I need to tighten it, I still can. Okay, so that way I can just rearrange those gathers a little bit as well. You want your gathers nice and even so that it sits nicely on the other side. I'll just knot those two together. Okay, and trim that one. So look. I think it's a bit of an optical illusion in a way because of the straps. I'm not quite sure. Right. I think that'll be fine. I could do another stitch going around it, but I'm thinking that might be overkill for it. I think it's going to be fine just the way it is. So we'll take that off like that. But I will put a little bit of glue under there now so it doesn't slip around, because I don't want it getting off. See how it's nice and straight, the lines and things like that. I don't want to keep that, so we'll just see if we can put a little bit of glue in there to hold it. Yes, it'll stop it, help stop any fraying as well. Well, some fraying, it's silk frays. Okay, that's it, like that. Right, clean that. Next thing I've got is I also cut off some strips of the silk. This is about 1 3/4 inches. I'm not sure how much I'll need of it. I've cut 2 strips and gave them a press, but what I need to do is like fold it in half, because I want that to be a little ruffle around the edge. By having a ruffle around the edge, it's easy to pick up. See, yes, that's easy to pick up, but if you've got something to grab, like a little ruffle, it makes it so much easier to move around. So, same thing again, I'm just going to put a running stitch around it. Hopefully that's enough. It should be. So I want a running stitch. I don't know how much I'm going to need. Let's have a look how much I've got. So that is 1, 2. I may need to join it a little bit to this as well. I think we'll need to join it, to be honest. Let's just join it. Okay, so it's only going to be a little ruffle, because that's all I want. Okay, I'll just put a pin in there, like that. Let's start from this side. And I think I will need more thread, so let's get another needle. Works. I hope the fan in the background isn't too noisy for you. I don't really hear it myself because I'm so used to it, but it is a little bit humid at the moment, so I need some air moving in here. Especially, you know, using glues and things, you have to have a bit of circulation. And I don't have air conditioning, so okay, I might just trim that end piece because that was on an angle there. Make sure I've got it the right way. And I won't need all 2 strips of it. I think I'll just need 1 and a bit. So although I've got a knot there, I'm just going to put a back stitch and then I'll do my running stitch on that doubled over fabric. Like that. And I'll do it, and every so often I'll do down as far as I think I need, and then I'll gather it in and see if I need any more, and I'll be back when I do that. Okay, so I'm just measuring it, and I just need to do it a little bit more, I think. I don't want it overly gathered because it won't sit right, but so far I've done, that's the seam, the join line there, and I've done probably 1.5 inches further, so I'll do a bit more. Okay, that should probably be enough there. Okay, so let's cut that off there. And pull it in a bit. I just don't want it too over gathered because it'll stick up a bit too far. Basically like that. Like that. And that will be fine. See how if you over gather it, it kinks up, which is cute in its own way, but I have a doily scraps here and I love the little lace on the edge, and I'm just wondering if I can use it on here. Want to see how that looks around there. I think that's quite pretty. Let's zoom you in there like that. I think that's quite pretty, and see that gives me a nice little ruffled edge to grab it, and it's just the right side. I could have even made a smaller one, but it's nice and low and flat, so it's not going to get in my way when I'm moving my arm. So you kind of need to, I'm just going to pull it in a bit tighter and then finish it off here. Okay. And that can all be try and make that gathering fairly even. That's about right. Looks about right. Yep, okay. Just trying to think when I should put this on, whether I should put it on now or whether I should put this on and then attach that. That might be the best way to do it. So I'm just going to tuck that in on itself like that. So it's got a nice finish. That, I guess I could just, I don't know if that's necessary with it. It could be fine. Okay, it'll be like that. So I'll have to just put a little stitch in there. I need a much finer thread for that one. And of course you could just glue these pieces together if you didn't want to stitch them, just overlap them and glue it. I don't think you could see that, so I'm just doing a little stitch going like that to keep it together. Then I think I'll go through to the other side and come back down the other side as well. This seam probably won't even be noticeable because the lace will be over it. It's just that corner piece there. I want to make sure that stays together, so I might just do a bit different there to close it up a bit more. There we go. That's done. Okay, so now we'll put that side down because that one's a little bit messier there. Just pull it out like that and stretch it a bit. Like that. Okay, so like before, I think I will, you can see where the edge of the cardboard is, so I'm just going to some glue there, like that, and put that there, like that, and then turn it to the other side and do some on this side as well. And then the same for the side pieces. It might have to come in just a little. Once it dries, it'll be a bit easier. So I might just do the 4 points. That there. And this one here. Let it dry a little bit. And then do the in-between pieces. Let's have a look, make sure it's fairly even before it dries completely. And so adjust your little and I can use glue underneath it because no pins will be going in there. Just make sure you don't get glue on your hands and get it on the top. can be brought in just a little bit wider than all the rest. There we go. Okay, I'm going to have to let that dry a little bit now, just so that I can play with it better. Looking at the viewfinder, it might give me a better idea of whether it's fairly even. It looks even. They're dark stripes, so you can't see the curve as much there. Okay, I'm going to let that dry a bit and then I'll be back. So I'm back and I have zoomed the camera out. I completed this pincushion in a video and I didn't end up liking it as much as I thought I would. So I'm just going to pick it up from here and continue the video on. I glued the ruffle on and I just glued the base on to cover up the inside of the ruffle, and that's how we are now. And I'm wanting to add a lace. Now I think I said in the video that I really liked this little bit of doily, but it's actually a bit wide for the trim for this little ruffle, so I won't be using that. So I ended up using a different trim, and no, I didn't like it that much. So I had a little look around in my Lavish laces and I found this beautiful little dainty trim here, which is just lovely. And I've run it through the sewing machine on the very large stitch. Mine's a number 4. And then I've gathered it in. So I've got on this end of the lace a gathered trim, and I think it's quite dainty and it will probably look better than what the last trim, which you won't see in this video. I may put up a little picture just so you can see and compare. It was a lovely trim, but it just didn't I didn't like it that much on this particular project. I'll save it for another one. So let me just put a pin there to hold that, and then adjust these little gathers because I want that going right, you know, tucking right in as much as possible. And I'm wondering, I stitched the last trim on. I'm wondering whether I should stitch this or glue this, because I could glue it for the simple fact no pins will be going down here. This is the pincushion here, so it's quite all right to glue something down there if I want to, or I could stitch it. I'm just seeing what it looks like before I do anything though. I hope you've all been keeping well. So my apologies to those people who may have watched the other video. I know about 100 people had watched it by the time I decided to take it down. And you couldn't see a lot of what I was doing because I'd forgotten to zoom the camera back out, as you will probably notice a little bit in this video too. But I've left a bit of it in because you can get an idea of what I'm doing with the ruffle, but I do apologize for that. I think this is going to look quite pretty. Keep checking my camera to make sure I'm in view. I know you can't see a lot at the moment because my hand's in the way. Okay, so there. Like that. I think that's quite sweet. I do. So this is a beautiful trim from Lavish Laces, and I can cut it off. I might, what am I going to do? Glue or stitch? I think I might glue it. Might be a bit less fiddly just to glue it on. There's nothing wrong with gluing things as long as you're not putting pins and needles into that area. It's quite all right. You don't want to be putting your pins and needles into glue because they don't go through it. Yes, I think I'll just perhaps glue. What I want to do though is I need a thread on this end. So I'm just going to cut the thread there and cut the thread there. And that way I can pull the thread through and use it over here. How much do I need? That should be fine. Got it on that side, and now I can trim off the excess lace. There we go. Put that to one side. Oops, could have done with it. Oh, it's okay to overlap it a little bit. Okay, what I'm going to do is just tie those together to stop it from, I don't want the gathering coming undone. Okay, that's that. Take that out. Do the same on this side. Tie those ends together as well. There, okay. And now I can carefully just get my fabric. Do I have fabric? No, I don't have fabric glue, but I have my quick dry, Helmer's quick dry glue, which will work on fabric. Okay. So, I don't want a lot of glue. I just kind of want a little bit in the, I can bend that down a bit like that. Wait for the glue to come down, of course. See, the weather's cooled down a little bit now, so I don't have droopy glue. I'm just going to lay it in there. I'll go down about halfway. then I'll like that. Okay, where's the beginning of it? There. Go in like that. I'm kind of just getting the edge of it in there. Like that. Trying to keep the gathers fairly even. So that's got me to halfway there. That's what it looks like. I think that looks quite pretty. It looks nice and dainty, and it looks vintagey and, yeah, pretty. And that will take me to there. So I'll do the exact same thing there as I did there and come back. So I've done that, and now I'm just going around the edge, pushing it in. This is a little silicone tool. Hazel bought me this many years ago, a whole set of them, and I've still got a couple that I haven't used. And they're great for things like this because the glue doesn't stick to them. You can just hide the little edge under the pincushion part. There we go. And now I can trim these off. There we go. So that's that. Like that. This little part here is a little bit flatter than the rest. So what I'm going to do is to put my bow there. I've got a bit of tulle here tied in a knot with a daisy flower on there and a vintage rhinestone there, and I'm going to put that on there like that. Finish it off, and it does look like a little hat, and I'm all right with that. But that also gives me something to grab as well. I think I stitched it on last time, to be honest, because these are the little threads. That might be a better way to do it, just to stitch it so it's on the side of the pincushion rather than on there. So let's see if I've got some thread. I do. And then we're almost finished. And it's not an elaborate pincushion, it's just a basic little pincushion, but I use all different types of pincushions for different reasons. And I like to have different pincushions. I like some at my sewing machine, I like some on my desk, I like others that are easy to move from my sewing machine to my desk, so I don't want those ones to be too big. I have some just for fun, and I have some just because they're beautiful. I've got some just for display in my cabinet. So I'm just going to put a couple of stitches in there first. And then, I hope I'm under the camera still. Put that like that and stitch it on. So just doing the same sort of thing through the pincushion like that. And then through the notch on the back of the decoration there, and then back through the pincushion and back through the knot all the way through it, so it's nice and strong like that. Maybe one a bit lower. There we go. Pull that thread tight and then snip it off, and then it'll bounce back inside of the fabric. So there we go. That is our little pincushion. So I'm glad I fixed that, because it was annoying me that I didn't like the other trim very much. And like I said, I will put a photo of that in some. I might just pop a little bit of glue behind that as well, soon as it's just sat there. Okay, just to help it lay flat there. Okay, so there we go, a lovely little pincushion. Using Lavish laces, fabric, beautiful silk fabric, love that fabric, and pretty petite lace as well. It's not very dimensional, it's just nice and flat, lightweight, something I can have just to the side, you know, here. So when you're sewing, if you're not using your felt mat or something, it's nice to have something just to put your pin in quickly. So that's what that's for. Also very useful for just popping over at the sewing machine and putting my pins in as I take them out, and then putting back on my desk, and you know, doing it from there. So thank you so much for that watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Not a hard project at all. If you don't want to be doing too much sewing, it's just running stitch, that's all it is, and gluing. So take care everybody. Bye.